What happened?
It's not picking you up.
Oh.
Hold on. Let me see if it did pick you up. It's getting a lot of my background noise.
Want me to stop the stream?
No. Are we streaming now?
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. Talk about picking up on the gremlins here.
Live recording, folks. Live.
We are here live, folks. We're just double checking something here because it always helps to have backups. Yeah, there's no point in me recording. I can't pick you up.
Okay, no bigs.
Yeah, because this would have been just nothing. You know what I mean? Well, one big nothing, just my end of the one. It would have been just my end of the audio.
Okay, well, in that case, I'm just going to do the trailer again and keep it pushing.
Let's go.
Good evening, Rick. Would you believe it's Dr. Doom? What's on your evil mind? Hold your insulting tongue and mark my words well.
How about this rumor that you are really hired by Mr. Starstone?
And I'm leaving that in. Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of the Comic Book Chronicles.
Yay! Woo! We are doing manual sound effects here, folks, because I am without soundboard.
Here, let me see something. Close enough. I don't have. I need
Close
to put in. Yeah, I need to put in the one that you have. This is the Comic Book Chronicles, and I am your host, Roddykat. You can find me at Roddykat on Twitter. You can find me at News on Twitter. You can find me at CBCaps on Instagram.
King. There you go.
South Carolina with Columbia down the way. There we go. And coming to you live from a remote location, sans usual sound effects, is one Agent _70 on Twitter, Instagram, and Threads.
What's up, everybody? Brooklyn is in the house, just not actually in Brooklyn right now.
Now, directly from the planet of Brooklyn.
There it is. Ka-ching.
Spread love, it's the Brooklyn way. Spread love, it's the Brooklyn way. Spread love, it's the Brooklyn way.
I knew it was going to happen one of these times.
The gremlins. The gremlins.
That's good. I know what it is. I just can't do anything about that at this very much point. But nevertheless, folks, this is the Comic Book Chronicles, as I said, and you can find this here podcast on the Coast Slither Podcast Network. That's CSPN.us.
Do it today. Ka-ching.
Yes, you can also find us on your podcast perusal place of choice, whether it be Google Play, Apple iTunes, aka Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or the Coastal Podcast Network's SoundCloud page.
Make sure to click like, subscribe, and leave us all the positive 5-star reviews, especially on Apple Podcasts.
Excuse me. Yes, and you can also find us recording every Thursday night, mostly every Thursday night, 9:30 Eastern Standard Time, on the YouTube channel of The Kliq Nation. That's youtube.com/The Kliq Nation and twitch.tv/Comic Book Chronicles.
Again, please click like, subscribe, hit that notification button so you know when we're on live.
Hey, love it when a plan comes together. Folks, like I said, tonight we got a jam-packed show for you tonight. As we start things off, well, first of all, you know how we do. We like to talk about the shows of the week. So I guess we're going to do it a little something like this.
Previously.
That's right, folks. We're talking about X-Men 97, episode number 3. Which
I thought we were starting with Bad Batch, but okay.
Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. You're right. We actually are. And I said it right before the show, right? Like 5 minutes ago, and I said it. So that's crazy. Yes, we are starting with yes, I just wanted to put that soundbite in the way. How about that? But no,
I love it.
A clear mistake on my part.
There's an echo.
Is there?
Yeah, I can hear myself.
I'm not sure what to tell you on
I was
that.
about to say we figured out we eliminated one source of that particular gremlin, right? So, but in any event, so Bad Batch,
Yes,
season
Bad
3, episode 9, The Harbinger.
Wait,
that
yes,
is the
it is
title
9.
of the show.
Thank you. I was about to say, wow, it's 9 already. Jesus.
Yeah. I mean, we were literally just talking about this because we are definitely in the second half of this third season. So, you know, we're Roddykat and I in our pre-production meeting trying to figure out how many episodes were left. But, you know, and every time we think about it, we have to remind ourselves that we are in the second half of this season. And ultimately, you know, there are reveals to be had, some questions still kind of left unanswered, but kind of not. Right?
Yes.
Like we have an idea, right? We have an idea what's going on, but I'll leave it to Roddykat to go through the basics of the story. But that's my super quickie review: is that we have answers to some questions, but some are left unanswered, and we have some new questions as we hurtle into the last parts of the show.
Indeed. So going into this episode, the Bad Batch needed some information, as come to find out last week, and the call was put out for said information, which, you know, they got something. They didn't get a whole thing, which led them to, you know, but not necessarily seek out new sources, but waiting for the source that they were trying to get the information from, but which they get some of this week in the form of, well, let's put it this way, folks. You knew there was a certain appearance that was going to happen from the trailer in this season, and that appearance has now come in. So if you come in, if you have had that person on your bingo card, congratulations, you were right. But also, which is also funny for me, if you were on Twitter/X and follow Christy Golden, who just so happened to mention, hey, you might want to read my book sooner rather than later. Like a day or so after we recorded the last time, I was like, well, that cements that. Then yeah, you got a pretty good idea about who shows up in this latest episode. And there was an actual surprise in this episode, which we won't go into because of well, actually, now that I think about it, it's not so much of a surprise because I believe that was also in the trailer about what she has on her.
Right. I don't remember it being in the trailer, but I can tell you that when this particular item is revealed, I was like, oh, I absolutely had an audible reaction.
Indeed. Same. So, and I know there are fans of this character, including one who's probably chilling on Tatooine at this point, just like we talked to Agent 70 earlier, sliding into them Force DMs.
Yes. Yeah. And what's funny is that prior to Force Awakens and its unfortunate successors, we didn't really have an idea what Force DMs might look like, but now we do.
Yes, we do. Yes, indeed. Well, we kind of had an idea. We just didn't have the terms match up because it was a different time then.
Right. But now we do.
Yeah, but we definitely do at this point. So
right.
So yeah, so person comes in, I dare say, a fan favorite, definitely a favorite amongst some folks out there, kind of comes into play, and also surprisingly bows back out. But I'm not sure. I almost went to see if we're going to see this character again before the end of the season. I'm kind of curious about that part.
My guess is no. Because I think the character came in to play a particular role and fulfilled that role. Oh no! Remember the doorbell sound effect? I need to key that up. We used to have a doorbell sound effect. That was our spoiler bell.
We do have one. It's just not with us at this point. So,
right.
Wait, unless. There we go. We do have.
There it is.
So,
yeah.
Okay, stop.
It's resonating.
Yeah. Cut that one a little bit. But anyway, I enjoyed this episode. Like I said, I don't want to give up too much about it because it just came out yesterday as we were recording this, and you know, don't want to give it too bit. But like I said, some people kind of knew it was coming. And to what end? Well, you know what? We got a bit of info dump as well as a couple of curious moments. I would dare say in the excuse me, a couple of interactions that was had during the episode. So, which again, like I said, still kind of makes me. I would agree with you, Agent 7, about we're probably not going to see this character again. But I there's something about that feels like maybe not. Like we might actually see this person again, but I'm not sure. You know, in what capacity though? Because like I said, we only got a few episodes left. So, and at this point, they're probably about to get into the thick of things.
That's my that's my reasoning behind my saying we probably won't see this character again.
Yeah, and I agree with that because like it was like if they were going to do something like that, they would have probably, you know, had that had this person show up earlier than now,
right?
And then be like, well, we need some extra backup or something.
Right.
So,
all right.
But nevertheless, it was a good episode. I hope you know if you're up on the Bat Batch, you go check it out.
All right. So normally in this situation, I would hit the sound effect for President Bartlett of the West Wing saying, "What's next?" But instead, I know.
Right. But instead,
I know what you want to play. Right.
Previously.
Or I could just do this.
Previously on this guy.
That also kind of works. But yes, folks. Now we're talking about X-Men 97 episode 3.
All right. The title is Fire Made Flesh. And let me tell you, that is a red herring.
No pun intended.
An absolute red herring because it's meant to evoke something from the comics and what they do in this story. So very quickly, I'll let Roddykat go into the details, and I'll just give you my brief overview and my take on things. I felt here the pangs of my younger self watching the original X-Men animated series, thinking, why would they do this and smash all these storylines together and tell things this way and adapt it the way it is? I am older, somewhat wiser, somewhat less a pain in the butt when it comes to continuity and adaptations. Obviously, having lived through and seen successful adaptations in the MCU, kind of has, you know, it's kind of, I've mellowed when it comes to how faithful adaptations are to the original source. In this case, for the first time since the original, I feel like I was feeling it. I definitely felt some of those urges, some of those reservations, some of those negative feelings, as it were, to this adaptation. So first, you know, like in 3 episodes, that's not bad. But this particular episode really did a number on several classic X-Men stories. And, you know, this is the first episode of the 3 where I kind of leaned back and thought to myself, wow, they really kind of butchered this. These are stories that I grew up reading. These are stories I circled back to read because, to be perfectly honest, the birth of Nathan Christopher Summers is a little bit before my time. You know, when it came to reading X-Men, let's be honest, that's like issue 200, 201, you know, and that's pretty early on. So, you know, bottom line though is, actually, it's before that, but the point is that's like roughly when the stuff that they talk about in this episode starts to happen, right? And then they kind of throw in some Inferno stuff, spoiler alert, you know, and I'll let Roddykat pick it up from there.
Yeah, I not to harp on something I said last week about it, but it is definitely showing the signs of, we only got 10 episodes, so we need to put everything that we were planning to do, that we originally wanted to do, in a more compact format. If they had the originals like 26 episodes, you can guarantee you they would have you know, they would have spread it out a little bit more. But yeah, that is my problem with it. But at the same time, I blame the powers that be for that and not necessarily them, because I'm pretty sure they went in saying, hey, we could use this number of episodes. And they were like, no. And they were only given 10 episodes for this, which, you know, like I said, for the reasons I probably mentioned last week. But that being said, yeah, they did what they could. They did what they had to do with it. And for the constraints that they had, they did pretty well. But at the same time, I would have loved to have seen, like Agent 7, I would have loved to have seen it kind of like, yeah, let's kind of spread some of this out just a little bit more. Like, let some of the stuff breathe before just going like beep. Because it looks like it's kind of compacted a couple of different things, as Agent 70 said, which we won't really go into, because some of which he kind of mentioned. But
right, I'm only briefly touching on it because just like Bad Batch, this episode just came out. Right. And we're not trying to spoil it for everybody.
Right.
But we can definitely tell you that there are, you know, if you are a fan of a particular era of comics, of X-Men comics, and you recognize every single storyline that they're adapting here, you know, your head might start spinning like mine was. Mm-hmm. You know, more so in this episode than any of the other ones. You know, all the way to the final surprise reveal at the end.
Right. The one thing, actually, if I remember, I had to remember to mention this to Agent 70 after the show, but there was a comment made by one of the characters about abandonment, and then 5 minutes later, not even 5 minutes later, they were like, pew. And I'm like, wait, why? What's going on here? But that being aside, which, you know, that's not so much of a spoiler unless you know what we're talking about. But if it's not a spoiler. So I would have loved to see the event that they reference in here definitely done in a couple of episodes, like I said, and that's a shame that is not, because they pretty much blew the wad on that one, I think, with that.
Right. And there's literally you know, we've used these wrestling terms before. There is a heel turn and then a babyface turn in like whirlwind fashion.
Right.
And I'm just, my head's still kind of spinning after watching it.
Right. And capped off with a certain name reveal, which I'm like, okay, you didn't just pull, we know you didn't just pull that out of nowhere, but at the same time, right, I guess you had to drop it in some kind of way for the folks that, you know, as a wink to the folks that know.
Exactly.
But it was still kind of rushed out there. I mean, outside of that, for what it was, technically it was a good episode, but everything we just said aside, and, you know, being ones who know of the materials they're pulling from, it's kind of a letdown. So like the animated well, the stuff was flood, the stuff still flowed. It was just like, wow, you're just going from 1, 2, 3 to 10 right then and there.
Right.
Huh?
Right.
So, but hey, you know, like I said, it's a good watch. I almost actually went back and watched the first 2 episodes before I watched it, the third one, but I was like, I don't need to. Let's just go ahead.
Not necessary.
Yeah, but I mean, not necessary, but still, those 2 episodes were good for what they were. As a good setup. So.
Sure.
But it was like, let me just go ahead and get this out of the way. If I want to do a rewatch, I'll do it later. And speaking of a watch, we'll get to the last show that we're going to talk about, which is Invincible, season 2, episode. Wait, was it 8?
No, 7. No, episode 7, titled "I'm Not Going Anywhere."
Spoiler alert! Kind of a lie.
Oh no.
Kind of a lie.
So I only watched the first 5 minutes of this episode, which is fun, but I have not been able to get to the rest. So Roddykat will do his thing and talk about this episode.
Right, but I feel safe enough saying that because I know, especially following the last few episodes and the last season, you know, the titles have some direct meaning in most times to something that goes on in the show. So it wasn't that big of a, I don't think I could say that's a big of a spoiler for 8 to 70. But the reason why I wanted him to watch the first 5 minutes is because of what happens in the first 5 minutes, which kind of amusing, but also, as Agent 70 said before the show, kind of meta. But which was what tickled both me and him at seeing his reactions
Right.
as he was watching.
Yeah, Roddykat literally got to watch me watch the first 5 minutes.
Yeah. So if you had a chance to watch the show, you know what I mean in those first like 5 minutes or so. The rest of the episode, like I said, I won't spoil it because I know he's going to watch it later. Is it is intriguing in its own right, but I guess would probably be more intriguing if you know, partially if you know what goes on in the books. Because neither one of us have read Invincible at all, so we don't know. From what I've picked up from watching this show, I know a couple of things that probably would happen and should happen in the comics kind of happened, but it just took longer to get there, I guess. But like I said, it was I thought it was a good episode. It was also, kind of touching in spots. I will say that much. But like I said, I don't want to give it away too much. But sometimes that show surprises you in the way that it does that. Like just right out of the blue, it's like, okay, you got this thing going on, and then you have these two characters talking, and like, oh, touching moment or something. But the only thing I will say is like, yeah, there is a specific beat that a side character had been dealing with from the last couple of episodes, and that continues here, possibly to an end, I guess. But I'm not. But that being said, so but yeah, that's Invincible. So like I said, I don't want to, and that just came out today, so definitely don't want to today as we're recording.
We're not spoiling that for the people watching live at home right now.
Right.
Or for the people that watch, Invincible when they can, and our episodes usually drop relatively quickly, either by the weekend or in the early week. So, we've got to give these folks time to watch.
Exactly. So the one thing about Invincible, I will say in relation to X-Men, there is part of me that wishes X-Men could get the length that Invincible has, but at the same time, with the way X-Men is presented, I don't know if it would do it it would do it some justice in one way, but I don't know, especially when you go back to the fact that it's like, no, these have always been 30-minute or 22-minute, chunks and laid out a specific way. I don't know if such a long form would help or hurt X-Men in that capacity. I would love to see it just to see how that played out, but, I don't know.
If somewhere in the multiverse that exists.
Right. So, but
best we can hope for.
Yeah, yes. But Invincible, as it's been laid out at this point.
Yeah, I was about to say, another way to look at it is in a past life. I recently watched the Oscar nominated movie Past Lives. So another way to say is in a past life.
I see. Nice. Snuck that in there.
Right. But listen, I'm semi-cultured.
Yeah. You know what? You got a little, parlay some boost some front say every now and then. I get you. But with that, folks, that's Invincible. Like I said, that show is still good. So you have to appreciate it for that. And again, still continues to make me want to read the books, and I have the compendiums on deck. I'm like, I don't know when I'm gonna get to it with what we read every week. So with that, folks, we are going to go into the comic books of the week. And I guess I'll do something like
okay. Okay. Yeah. I thought it was Flav for a second. I was waiting for a boy. I need to get that too, but I feel bad using that as a drop.
What? Flav?
Yeah, Flav. I still, what I was thinking about getting today, and we'll jump into books in a hot second with our first book. But I was thinking of and I think I've mentioned this on the show, or maybe even in our pre-production meetings or post-production meetings. Teddy KGB from Rounders, pay him, pay that man his money, right? Or he beat me.
I haven't
straight up.
I haven't seen Rounders, and I don't know how long.
I love that. I love that movie. Didn't I mention that I literally watched it on actual DVD at home?
You did.
I did. All right. Anyway, next up, our first book of the night. I think we settled on, of all books, G.O.D.s, G.O.D.S, number 6. It's written by Jonathan Hickman with art by Valerio Schiti, colors by Marte Gracia, and letters by VC's Travis Lanham. Folks, I could not tell you what this issue was about right now, and I read it earlier tonight.
You say that about the whole book.
Right. I have an idea of what happened. I saw pictures. I saw lots of Hickman mumbo jumbo, but for the life of me, could not tell you what happened. Roddykat, take it away.
Yeah, so I'm going to repeat the same thing I said to Agent 70 prior to the show, but I would really love to get a hold of what the hell Jonathan Hickman is smoking to come up with this stuff. Because holy hell. Now, so that being said,
it's true. It's true. I don't look at it the same way, but I absolutely understand what Roddykat is talking about.
Right. I'm not even saying this isn't a bad way. It's just that, wow, Hickman has come up with, especially with as long as we've been reading him, he has come up with some shit. And in this particular book,
it's very true.
Yeah, and in this particular book, every issue is kind of like that. I'm just like, what is going on here? You know? So that being said, the only thing I will say with some definiteness, I'm waking up words now, some definity. Aiko, one of the main characters, I guess you can call her one of the main characters in this book, goes to seek an audience with the Living Tribunal.
Right, that part I got.
Yeah, but even when they get to that part, it's like, wait, is that the Living Tribunal? Because he looks a lot different from what I remember seeing him.
Yeah, it's basically like a shifting look, a shifting appearance. That's definitely an artistic license at play, I think.
Right. They got a glow up, basically. But because the last time I remembered, I thought they were dead.
Really?
Something where I think it was a Guardians book or something where somebody or something went after the cosmic gods, or something like that. I could be mistaken, or maybe it was Ultimates. I don't remember. But regardless, again, time has passed and a whole lot of things have happened, so I ain't no telling what's what and what's real anymore. But yeah, so there is that, and that character has, I guess, some things to answer. Well, not necessarily some things to answer for, but yeah, I got some things. The reason why they did it was, I guess, is an honorable reason, but now they have to pay the cost of doing that. And we only got 2 more issues left, so I can only imagine if we are going to see what that's going to be before it wraps up, and whether this was a part of a long con of Hickman, which I suspect it probably was.
It might be,
because this whole book was pretty much a series of like, yeah, we're just gonna roll this out and keep it pushing for the long haul, and maybe it's gonna push it. Well, I'm not even gonna say maybe. I feel like Hickman probably had a plan to turn this into something, and it's probably, even in the end of it, might still do that. But at the same time, like I said, we're just not getting we're not getting a whole new Avengers 2-year long goal leading into Secret Wars, time runs out type situation going on here with this, sadly. But hey, it looks good. The art's kind of busy, but it's looking art. Hickman's mumbo jumbo is in effect all the way through this. The Lion of Wolves, that's a character.
Yeah, seriously.
So, like, and that's another thing that's been going on in this book. Like, it seemed like a new character has been introduced or brought in, like, pretty much every issue. And this is a book we don't have data pages on like that, like we do in the with Hoxpox or whatnot. So it's just going full mumbo jumbo, and you know what? You hang on or don't hang on, one way or the other. You take it right or don't.
Right. Thankfully, the data page that's most important is the data page that reminds us who the main characters are in the issue.
Yes.
Because I constantly was flipping back to it at the very front of the issue.
Right.
Because I was like, oh, so that's who this person is. This is who they're referring to. The Lion of Wolves. Great name, but what the heck is that? What does this mean?
Right.
So,
exactly. So the reason why we started with gods is because in order to repeat something else I said to Agent 70 earlier, as we go into the next book with Ultimate Spider-Man #3.
Ultimate Spider-Man #3 is also written by Jonathan Hickman, with art by Marco Cacchetto, colors by Matthew Wilson, and letters by VC's Corey Petit. So one thing that Roddykat mentioned is that, interestingly, both Gods #6 and Ultimate Spider-Man #3 are written by the exact same writer, but come off on very different levels, come across as very different stories with very different goals and storytelling, motives and motifs in mind. So this is, of course, a reimagining of the original Spider-Man origin story, right? With this twist being a non-high school aged Peter Parker, right? That's the gist of it, right? That's the main twist. There's a couple of other twists, but that's the primary one, is that we are not dealing with a high school aged Peter Parker who all of a sudden gains the powers of a spider, and how that changes the origin of Spider-Man is what is detailed here, in addition to all of the other stuff that was related to, like, the Maker story that was in Ultimate Invasion. So I will hand it off to Roddykat with that. I will just say that this is a candidate for Click of the Week for me because I really enjoyed some of the character interactions in this, and I think that's where this issue shines.
Yes.
Take it away.
Yeah, this is like it was like it just said, like tonally different from Gods, and quite a fun book actually. Also, so it's kind of funny reading one then going to the other, and it's like, this is the same. Well, not surprising, it's the same person, but it still was like, wow, this is the same person writing both of these books. But I will say that. So hey, folks, do you remember? Well, okay, I want to ask you a question first, real quick. So wait, was the original Ultimate Spider-Man, was he a high schooler, or was he kind of slightly near college age?
No, young.
Was he so okay. I wasn't sure because I don't remember too much about the original Ultimate series. So okay. Nothing for nothing. So yeah, remember that scene in the first Captain Marvel where young Monica helps Carol pick out her suit colors? We kind of get something like that in this story.
Right. And we also get, believe it or not, we get an explanation of sorts.
Yes.
Of a suit, the suit that Peter's wearing, because it's not a symbiote.
Right. We had been questioning.
I think we were slightly confused about what that was.
Right. I was about to say, we were questioning that the last couple of issues is because we never really got anything about the origin of the suit. And now we're getting a sense of what that was. And of course, if it's not an alien, it's the other thing that would happen in a universe such as this, which makes probably as much or if not more sense as you think about it. So
So did we miss that? Because in the issue intro, right at the credit page, it mentions that a character sent Peter this Picotech suit.
So we got the fact that he got sent the suit. I don't think we ever got the fact that it was a Picotech. I don't think we ever got that part.
I see. I don't remember where that happened. I'm gonna have to go back to 1, 2, and 3.
I think we saw it
and double
1.
check that.
Yeah, I want to say we might have gotten it at the end of 1 or the beginning of 2. I can't remember.
Okay.
But yeah, we did not know what kind of tech it was. Either way, I don't think. And if it does, it was hidden, because I feel like this is one of those times where the you know, the data page at the beginning and was like, "Nah, we're just gonna throw this in here because we probably didn't beforehand." So that's just me though. But yeah,
Right,
so,
which is why I brought it up exactly the way I did, because I read that thinking, did we miss that?
Yeah, I don't think we did. So that's just me saying that. So I don't.
Right, and I clearly remember us questioning, like, so what's going on here?
Right.
No, maybe
Now-
it wasn't clear. Maybe we missed it. I thought it was maybe in Ultimate Invasion, and we missed that. I don't think so. So, but in any event, you know, I just wanted to re-emphasize something I said earlier, in that because this particular reimagining of the Spider-Man myth, the Spider-Man story, involves an older Peter Parker, we also have a remix on how he meets certain characters.
Yes.
And I wanted to hand it off to Roddykat with that.
Yeah, actually, I was just about to get into that. So, we basically get, well, if you're watching the video version, you can see a certain fight goes on. That does happen in the book between a certain goblin and a certain can't miss assassin that would be in the employ of well, just about anybody, but specifically in this or the main universe, in the employ of a certain Kingpin. Although I don't think that's what they're even calling him in this universe yet.
Right, and they're also implying that it might be even someone higher up,
Well,
especially
yeah,
in this version of the Ultimate Universe.
right. I think they might be implying that he's working for the people that Fisk is working for, which is the
Exactly,
which is the people,
exactly, like the
yeah,
higher ups,
right,
these world dominating types.
right. So, I assume we're going to get some more of that when we get to the Ultimates, or maybe they're going to do another thing about that. We don't know, but like I said, we're getting bits of the world from the couple of books that we have out at this point, which is this Black Panther and X-Men at this point, until Ultimate shows up next month. So, but yeah, the only thing I would say, in passing, like, we see Uncle Ben and Jay Jonah get their new office, and Peter kind of stops by. That was also a fun moment. But yeah, oh, in the picking of the colors, they also, I was like, okay, I see what you're referencing, the suits that are being referenced here. Like, all right, you kind of had to do something like that, and they did. So that was interesting.
It was fun.
Yes.
Even poking fun at a certain Hood,
Yes,
and a certain future Spider, and who else did they poke fun at? So there was a future Spider, a Hood,
FF,
and what's that?
FF.
Was it?
The blue one.
Okay. Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, you're not cool. You're too old. It was kind of fun. But so yeah, we get a lot bit of that going on in this episode, including the fight that you see on the cover if you're watching the video version, which is like basically Green Goblin and Bullseye, who wasn't named, but we know who that is. That Peter just happens to roll up into. That leads into a meeting that a meeting of a character that Agent 70 just mentioned at the end of it.
Right. It's a remix on how these two particular characters meet. And it's an interesting change to how we knew it happening from every version of these characters. Every version of these characters meet in a slightly different way. This is probably the biggest departure from the original way these characters meet. Because, these characters meet in the original comics at a particular stage in their lives, right? Mm-hmm. But the way they're introduced in certain adaptations, oftentimes they meet when they're in school. At this point, they meet at a very different time. So, like I said, this is probably the biggest departure from the original way they meet.
And actually, it was a surprise to me because it was like, whoa, it's not the version you thought it was.
Exactly.
So okay, here's that. So, but yeah, this is definitely a potential click of the week for Agent 70 and also myself for that, because this book continues to be interesting. I would say we still don't know the one part about Peter suit that we had been asking about, but I also suspect that the answer also pretty much is inferred with what we found out in this issue.
Right.
So
That's a good point. That's a good point.
yeah. That being said, we push on to one of the other Spider books of the week, which is Amazing Spider-Man number 46.
Amazing Spider-Man number 46 is written by Zeb Wells with guest art again by Carmen Carnero, colors by Marcio Meniz, and letters by our favorite lettering paisan, the hardest working letterer in Marvel Comics, VC's Joe Caramagna. We get the second half of this follow-up story on everybody's Aunt Anna, apparently. And you know, we have unfortunately probably like I don't know, it's not their first official team up, it's their first solo official team up where it's just the two of them kind of doing things as in their costume guise and then as their in their civilian guise for a little while. We get Jackpot and Spidey together, not quite at last, but you know, it's far too often for me because I really don't care for this Jackpot storyline. Ultimately, though, we get from A to B, but not in a straight line. You know, I give Wells credit for that, not going in a straight line when it comes to getting from A to B in this story. There are a couple of detours that the characters take, that the story takes, a couple of swerves even, and we get to where we expect to be at the end of this, but it's not the most direct route. And just very quickly, as I said I believe at the end of 2 episodes ago, when we got some hints as to what the upcoming stories were going to be in Amazing, which were going to involve Chasm and what's her face?
Hollow's Eve.
Oh gosh, Chasm and Hollow's Eve. There's going to be a 2-part story coming up right in the next 2 issues before we hit Amazing, before we hit the lead into Amazing 50. So you know, so there is that. But I'll hand it off to Roddykat with his thoughts on this.
Yeah, I feel like one of those swerves that you mentioned earlier, or not swerves, but that whole A to B route was just to mess with people shipping those 2 characters. I feel like that was
pretty much.
I was like, really? Okay. Like you just dangling that carrot right there and then just like, nope. I'm like, all right, Wells, you're back on my shit list for that one. But I mean, and it was well done, so I can't say it was that bad, but it was still that was messed up. Don't do that. You had to do that. And the swerve that comes at the end, I'm still not quite sure what was the point of part of the setup for that. Because, and we talked about it last time we talked about Amazing in a character's I guess the name they was going by. Yeah. So I'm sitting here like, okay, so I guess all of that was just not the case, or I don't know. That's probably more likely than not. But I was like, what was the point? Like it seemed kind of pointless. But yeah, that's like, you know, there's a good bit of action, which if you're watching the video version, you can see, you know, Electro on the cover, and definitely does show up to cause some shenanigans in relation to the people we were talking about, including how he gets dealt with, which is kind of funny. And a character that was in there that I'm still not entirely sure where they came from. A certain animal themed, I guess, bad guy that was at that Arkham Slash.
Oh, the hippo.
Yes. I'm like, who is this?
I am not around my hot moves, and I did not feel like Googling this character.
Yeah.
I feel like this character has been around before. I just kind of got a kick out of the fact that, you know, there is a hippo.
Right. I just saw him, was like, wait, is that Toweret from Moon Knight? That can't be the case. So, but it's not, because they didn't say Layla. But anyway.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, but there was some fun bits, including, like I said, how Electro gets dealt with.
I was about to say that's a Moon Knight cut. An
Yes.
MCU Moon Knight cut that Roddykat just gave you guys.
Yep. So, you know, if you're there, you're there. If not, hey, you know, I understand. That being the case, we're going to move on to the next spider book that we have in common, which is Miles Morales Spider-Man number 18 / Legacy number 300.
Right. So this is a big issue, Legacy number 300. Miles Morales Spider-Man number 18 / 300 is written by Cody Ziegler with art by David Marquez, Sarah Pichelli, Juan Cabal with Matt Horak, Luciano Vecchio, and Federico Vicentini. Colors are by Brian Valenza, and letters are by VC's Corey Petit. The first thing I noticed, and I did not stop on the credits page when I was reading this book. So the first thing I noticed right away is that there are multiple artists on this book. So it's a little jarring when there's a artistic handoff between artists. It's not they don't have like the most wildly divergent styles, but it's still a little jarring. It does mess with your eyes a little bit as you're reading. I'm not a fan of Ziegler's run on Miles. I'm not. I have not been shy about saying that. I'm not a fan of this Rabble character. Like her motivations are just off. Not a fan of this. I don't like you taking my spot in the gifted and talented program. Like what? So, yeah, I kind of don't get that. I'm happy to see Kamala Khan, aka Miss Marvel, have a role in this issue, but it's still, it doesn't ring true to me, this entire run. So I'll hand it off to Roddykat with that. Those are just my, thoughts on this run and this issue. I'm happy that Miles has gotten to quote unquote 300 issues somehow.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, and for what it's worth, it is a big issue, or is played as a big issue, because this is pretty much the quote unquote big fight between Agent Gao and the soon to not to be known anymore as the Cape Killers, as they try to make their last run at Miles with the assistance of Rabble, but also leading into, I guess, the last fights with Rabble. So, I guess Ziegler and crew was like, well, we got to go big, so we're going to make Miles and everybody go Super Saiyan coming out of this. And they do. And they also, do a thing with one of the side characters, with one of the other side characters, that being a clone of Miles, which was a nice touch, but it seemed like not necessarily undo it at the end. But I suspect that what we saw there wasn't, it's probably not the actual end of that. But yeah, we see some things going on to this, and it was, for all intents and purposes, and the like Age of 70 said, the changes in art aside, it was still a decent book. My issue is slightly with one of Agent 70's, in that because Cody Ziegler is a younger cat, he kind of writes mostly everybody at one point or another as old, or at the very least gives them, they may not always,
they're skewing younger.
Yes. Or at the very least give them some kind of younger slang to go with, even if they are an older character. In this case in point, Taximaster, which he still writes some kind of fun, but he just, there's something he said, it was like, you really didn't have to do that. That was totally unnecessary.
Right. There's one thing I wanted to ask, because I am not a gamer nowadays.
Okay.
Have been in the past, kind of, but yeah, I don't think I've ever played enough to be actually called a gamer. What is the deal with the Venom Blasts and these Venom Blast powers that Miles has? Because they seem to far exceed what Jessica Drew has, which is obviously what they're kind of based off of.
Yeah.
And, is this like an element of the video game come to print?
I mean, no, because Miles has had the Venom Blast since he got his powers for what.
No, but I'm talking about like the sword, going from the sword to the blasting, and
right.
You know what I mean. That's my point. It's that level.
I mean, you could probably make
that. Like, I don't know if that's a video gaming thing.
You could probably make that case. I don't know for certain if that's what it is, but since those the Miles Morales and the other two Spider-Man games are out there, you could pretty much make that as a thing, and
Right.
probably wouldn't be wrong with it. But I don't know if that was the case. You would have to ask Ziegler for that one. But
Right.
I think that, as we've talked about before, I think that is still trying to make Miles even more distinctive than the
Peter,
other
right.
spiders. Yeah.
Right, exactly. And all the other spiders. No, I get that. I get
Right.
that. I get that. Obviously there are some spiders that have webbing, and some that don't. Right. That's generally one of the major differentiating factors. In Miles's case, they gave him the web shooters. They weren't his, but they gave him web shooters, and they gave him this extra power that was originally a Spider Woman thing.
Right.
But the whole sword thing and the whole blasting thing in this issue, I was like, oh wait, what?
Right, and even the upgrade to his spider sense. I think, like I said, all of that might be in service. Like I said, you could pretty much make a case to where, yeah, it's probably something video game related, because, like I said, sometimes those, especially the Spider-Man games that we do have out that people love, they do make kind of some concessions on their powers,
right,
in ways. So
okay.
Oh yeah, you could definitely make that argument, but I can't. I can't say that for certain for Ziegler's reasoning in this, but outside of thinking, yeah, they probably just wanted more distinction.
Gotcha. All right, so we can move on to the next book and our last book, right?
Yes, Rise of the Powers of X, number 3 of 4.
So this book, I forgot that these are 4-issue limited series. This book is written by Kieron Gillen with art by R.B. Silva, colors by David Curiel, and letters by VC's Clayton Cowles. Folks, if you thought that Xavier was going to go through with this, you might have been sadly mistaken, because there's a twist. And I think that is what takes this book into very interesting territory and into the unexpected. And that's really what I have to say about this, because it kind of plays out the way we thought it would up until a point. And once we got to that point, we were all, well, what happens next? And that's the beauty of it. And I'll hand it off to you with that.
And I think, yeah, I agree with everything you just said. And also, I guess you can safely say that it went away with another thing that happens at the end. Because while it wasn't said that what happened at the end was it what was going to happen, I suspect it was heavily leaned into in other issues as a thing that was going to happen. Because for every time there was a reference to between Xavier and someone else in relation to this character, kind of felt like, well, that person doesn't need to know what's going on, so we got things going on. We got some things we're going to do. So, excuse me, sorry. Yeah, it was really not. I mean, this is another one of those books. Just like, wow, there's a lot going on here, just like with Gods, but in I mumbo jumbo in its own right, I guess you could say, because like you really have to be on top of not only this book, Fall, and some of the other side books to know everything that's going on with this book, which might turn some folks off. But if you're diehard and you like that kind of Hoxpox type setup, then hey, this book is still there. You just gotta have the board with the lines, with the pin pushings and everything in it to kind of keep track of everything and everybody that's coming in and out of these books. So, which, as I told Agent 70, is like, yeah, I did a reread of those two and a couple other books. Which, speaking of art changes, Realm of X had one that was kind of messing with me as I was reading it. So, which has nothing to do with this book, but just in reading up and catching up with some side stuff that's been going on since this whole Fall of X thing. But yeah, there's a plan in action. Part of it didn't go off, but part of it did go off, and we'll see. I guess I suspect in the next issue, or add some reference to it in Fall, when the next Fall book that comes out. as to where they go from here, because they're kind of doing the thing. It's like, well, you feel like you know what's going to happen, but you don't. You really don't. And it's like Agent 70 said, it's kind of a, well, okay, what's next? So how are they going to do this, and how are they going to solve it if they didn't do the thing that they thought we were going to do, which you kind of expected they weren't going to do?
All right. So interestingly, in terms of the reading order, we're going to get to Fall of the House of X by the middle of April.
Mm-hmm.
There are a couple of tangential books like Wolverine and X-Force 50 that are kind of in between, and two of those books came out this week. Next week is X-Men number 33 scheduled. Invincible Iron Man is scheduled the week after. And we'll have the week after that Dead X-Men number 4 and Fall of the House of X number 4. So we are very much hurtling towards the end, because this is all supposed to reboot in what, June?
Stuff's ending. I think stuff's ending in June.
Ending in May, but rebooting in June, right?
Well, no, in July actually.
July, right?
1.
So they might be taking June off,
right? Or I think, yeah, it's kind of May going into June is when this is going to wrap up, and then restart in July. Also, Cable came out this week, which is, I guess, may or may not have some tangential stuff into this Fall of X stuff. But I can tell you, it's young and old Cable teaming up to handle some stuff on their end while things are going on. So, which I didn't get a chance to read this week's book, but that is a tie into all of this as well.
Right.
Even though it has not shown up in any of the main stuff yet. So whether it will or not, who knows? That being said, though, that's it for the stuff we have in common. We can go on into rapid fire.
Yeah, so I ain't got time to bleed. The best I can do, folks. Best I can do. No sound effect board. So first up on rapid fire reviews is Killadelphia number 34, published by Image Comics. It's written by Rodney Barnes, with art by Jason Sean Alexander and Herman Aramuspe, colors by Lee Luffridge, and letters by Marshall Dillon. We continue with the crossover characters from the Image Comics universe, specifically the Savage Dragon. And what I really appreciated about this particular issue is that it caught us up on what's happened with Savage Dragon. I did not realize we were not following the original Savage Dragon that had come out in 1992.
Mm-hmm.
The guy that ran around in a t-shirt. Apparently this is his son, right?
Yeah, his son's had
so
it for
that
a while now.
Right. I had no idea, and that was explained to me in this issue, and I was very happy to have that explanation, because it did end on a cliffhanger for the Savage Dragon in the previous issue, and I was like, what's happening? And I never bothered to Google it. I wanted to see how they would explain it, and they did, thankfully, in a very strong way. Speaking of guest appearances, you will never guess the blaxploitation character that makes an appearance in this issue. I was flabbergasted, as one of my old French teachers would say. I was flabbergasted, my dear friends. So when I saw that, I was like, whoa, who has the license for this character, right? I'm assuming that Rodney Barnes paid a few bucks to get the license to publish this character. I did a little bit of Googling, but not enough Googling to determine who was the license holder. Ultimately, though, it was a very surprising inclusion guest, it's not even a cameo, it's a guest appearance, because apparently this character is coming back for the upcoming issue. Next up is Daredevil number 7. I'm going to tell Roddykat who it is off screen, post show, because I don't want to spoil it for everybody.
I was about to say, I'm actually skimming through the book as you're talking, so
it's a blaxploitation character. That's the most I'll tell you. And because it's Killadelphia, that kind of narrows things down. Right? If you know what the premise of the Killadelphia book is, it does in fact narrow things down. Next up, Daredevil number 7 is written by Saladin Ahmed, with art by Aaron Kuder, colors by Jesus Bertov, and letters by VC's Clayton Cowles. This issue is definitely the latest in a string of very, very strong issues by this Daredevil team. I love where they're going with this 7 deadly sins thing. There's a twist to which sin is represented by the devil that possesses Wolverine. You know, that's no spoiler because that's kind of what's teased at the end of last issue and why they're depicted fighting on the cover of this issue. Trust us, trust me when I say that, yes, this is one of those times where the cover does, in fact, depict something that happens in the issue that is Daredevil and Wolverine coming to blows. Bottom line, though, you know, it's still a very strong issue. I love reading Daredevil. This is Click of the Week stuff for me, along with Ultimate Spidey this week. I've got two books that are kind of related, kind of not. Wolverine 46 and X-Force number 50. The biggest relation between them is that they're both written by Benjamin Percy. Wolverine number 46 has art is also co-written by Victor Lavalier. Pencils are by Corey Smith, inks by Oren Jr., colors by Alex Sinclair, and letters by VC's Corey Petit. So this Wolverine story takes place prior to a lot of the Fall of X stuff, right? This is the Sabretooth War. So we are, you know, dealing with multiversal Sabretooths, you know, various various versions of Sabretooth going after Wolverine and members of X-Force, basically. And it's interesting, it's long, and it's weird because it's set apart from the events of Fall of X. That's really what's kind of like the hardest part of trying to read it. The other book that I was talking about, also written by Benjamin Percy, is X-Force 50. It has art by Robert Gill with colors by Guru EFX and letters by VC's Joe Caramagna. This book takes care of the two beast problem. You know how there's a novel called The Three Body Problem, and it's being adapted to into a series by Netflix? We have a two beast problem here, and the two beast problem is in fact solved as of this issue. How they solve it is something that I pretty much saw coming. It definitely has. It's not exactly a trope, but it's not the first time we've seen this particular way of solving a two beast or two same character problem. And I'll leave it at that. I don't want to spoil it. I'm happy that it's hopefully, knock on wood, over and done with this whole two beast problem, and we can move on from here. And with that, I'm done with my books this week.
Righty then. So we're going to mine, which I don't have a whole lot. Duke, number 4 of 5, by Skybound's Image. Let's see. Excuse me. Written by Joshua Williamson, art by Tom Riley, colors by Jordi Belair, and letters by Russ Wooten. So, we continue on from last episode where Major Blood's people have attacked the pit, trying to take out Duke and pretty much anybody who got in the way, and also a Baroness who just happened to be holed up there. And something that happened with said character apparently was not the case. Well, was not the definitive case that we thought it was from last issue. But we can see now that, let's just say, the character is now, we see why the character has now is going to have their classic look about them the next time they may show up. Although this is another thing that still kind of messed with me, just like Invincible from a couple of episodes where a similar thing happened. It's like, how you just get up from that type situation. So, but nevertheless, like I said, Duke and crew are cornered basically. Baroness basically tries to cash in on the bounty on Duke, but you know, Duke being Duke kind of talks him down, and let's just say, with the help of some toys, the crew kind of get away, solve their problem for the time being. But also leads Duke into running into another badass toy at the end of the issue when he goes off. Continuing.
They introduced the Cobra Bats.
One of them.
Badass toy.
Uh-huh. Spoiler alert. But yes, a bat shows up at the end.
I mean, the acronym gave it away for me.
I know.
Like,
that was the point.
Yep.
I didn't think you were gonna say it, but that was the point.
No, I was like, oh, that's where they're going.
Mm-hmm. So, and Duke, and we have Mars still looking for a power source that is going to suit their needs. And of course, this is the Energon universe, so you kind of figure what that's going to be.
I'm just waiting for Cobra. La 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 la.
Well, you'd have to read Cobra Commander for that, actually.
There it is.
So, because that's already been there. In fact, the next issue is definitely going to continue to go along that route.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, I need to load up some of those G.I. Joe books and see what's going on with that.
I mean, like I said, the only books that are out now is like this Duke miniseries and the Cobra Commander one so far. I think the G.I. Joe ongoing is like what in next month or May or something. I can't remember when that's supposed to start, but it's supposed to be starting sometime soon. So I think around the time that Duke and Cobra Commander end, I think that's when G.I. Joe is going to start. So
got it.
And they're relatively breezy reads, so yeah, it's interesting, definitely. Anyway,
la 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 la. I'm still embarrassed to remember that.
Yeah, I've had a time with it in reading that Cobra Commander book because, like, well, you kind of figured some things was going to be the case, but you didn't think they were gonna kind of blow it out the way they did, or not blow it out, but make it into canon in this as much as they had in this particular instance, in a way. Anyway, though, we'll talk about that the next time we talk about Cobra Commander, which I think we talked about last week. But anyway, next book is Star Trek Defiant number 13, written by Christopher Cantwell, art by Angel Unzueta, colors by Marisa Louise, and letters by Clayton Cowles. So, just to go on my notes, Worf and crew continued to be bugged at Starbase 99, which goes back to an old TNG thing that Hard and Riker thought they took care of with the help of a couple of phasers, but no. And it appears that in the crew trying to escape this infestation, one of them may have got infested and will have to be dealt with. But we also get a little bit more on our Orion farmer friend, as we have been getting some backstory into Load these last few issues, which some would say is probably needed. But hey, character, I'm sure some folks like that character. Actually, I do, but may or may not. I'm sure Kirk would also love that character but for obvious reasons for him. Next up is Dungeons and Dragons Saturday Morning Adventures 2, number 3 of 4. Which I know that's a lot to say, but we are. Ding. There we go. Written by David Embure, art by George Cambadias, inks by letters by Ed Dukeshire. Real simple. So yeah, the crew. If you did not know, this is the in the world of the '86 Dungeons and Dragons cartoon. If you're young enough not to know what that is, look it up. It's out there. If you're of a certain vintage, you know what it is, or you should know what it is anyway. But yeah, they're still in the Forgotten Realms. They're still out there. This book takes place some years after that show, so everybody's a little bit older at this point, including the youngest member, Bobby, who seemingly ran away a couple of issues back and had the other members of the group looking for them with the help of some D&D folks that pop in and out of the story, of that world. And in this case, it seems like Bobby may not have actually run away or he had a plan of his own, because the crew was initially looking for something for Dungeon Master, and it might be seen that young Bobby might have had a plan to find out what that is that involved him doing what he did. The giant turtle that shows up, and a giant miniature space hamster. That's
Gamera? No, I'm kidding.
I mean, kinda ish. I can't remember what they call it. It's like Turtle-on or something like that. But I can't remember what they call it. Regardless, yeah, it shows up in this, and they have to deal with that as it goes out. So, still a fun book. And Pirates. Pirates are there also, by the way. So, because they went into Pirates, because of course, this is the season. Last but not least, while I didn't actually read this book, I didn't feel like I actually had to, and you'll understand why in a second. X-Men 97 #1, written by Steve Fox.
Sorry.
Exactly. No, you're good. Written by Steve Fox, art by Salva Espin, colors by Matt Miller, letters by VC's Joe Sabino. Excuse me. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because, well, one, the show is out, and two, this book is out. So the relation to the show is that this is a prequel to the show. So technically, I guess you could say this is sometime after the end of the original series and before before the new series. The only thing I will say is that, hey, we get some Danger Room action, and we get a rescue of another light-based mutant during the course of this story. So, and of course, we get some flack between Wolverine and Cyclops, because you gotta have that. So, if you are interested in in a prequel book of the X-Men 97 series, hey, here you go. And that is it for me, folks. Kliqs of the week.
Kliqs of the week. Dun, 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 dun. There, okay. Roddykat's using what's available. We'll be back to our regularly scheduled program next week.
Okay, I could do this.
There it is. All right. So, I have my candidates. How about you?
Yes, I do. Duke, Ultimate Spider-Man, and I don't even want to give it to Mason like that, but I really don't.
We never want to give Zeb Wells any kind of credit. There are times when he does throw some nice swerves in, which is what I give him credit for on this particular issue.
Right.
But I just have my misgivings with the whole direction.
Right. So
I get it. I absolutely get it.
And sometimes, contrary to what we've said in the past, sometimes it is the moments that makes the Kliqs. Like, even if it is, especially if it's a series of good moments in the book, it was like, yeah, sure, that's what did it. So
sure.
But yeah, I think probably Duke and Ultimate are probably definitely the main ones for me. People are shocked. No Star Trek? Yeah, Star Trek was good, but there was a couple
for myself,
moments
it's
in there.
Daredevil. Right. For myself, it's Daredevil and Ultimate, and I think I'm going to go with Ultimate Spidey #3. But still, shout out to Daredevil, because the series as a whole is very strong. I'm very much glad to be picking it up in hard copy, and I'm looking forward to meeting hopefully Saladin Ahmed at this year's New York Comic Con. Hopefully, comes to New York, and give him some and give him a dap and say, hey man, this is great stuff, because I was very happy to talk to him last year.
Oh, you just reminded me of another book of his that I wanted to that just ended, that I wanted to finish reading. Cool. So, oh, actually, funny enough, folks, as a nice little side, and not my Kliq of the week, there's a Jean-Claude Van Damme action figure that apparently he went on sale.
What?
Yes, a Jean-Claude Van Damme action figure that apparently went up for sale. I think this is Bloodsport era from the look of this figure. If you're watching the video version, you can see the figure in it. You can see the figure.
To the Googles I go.
Yeah, when I was on getting the covers of the book, you know how previews kind of has the merch down at the bottom, the figures and stuff down at the bottom. It's like, oh, let me see what's going on here, and I was in there. I was like, weird. Actually, it wasn't even in there. It was with the other comic books for some reason. So.
Oh yeah, that is definitely Bloodsport era.
Mm-hmm.
Bloodsport Kickboxer.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, there you go. There's that. Also, Wonder Man: The Wonder of Simon Williams trade came out, which I thought that came out last week, but I didn't. I don't think we got a copy of it either way. So, 'cause I would have liked to have thumbed through that. But that being the case, yeah, I'm just probably just gonna go with Ultimate Spider-Man. Gonna let me not let me get off the action figure. Why? There we go. Ultimate Spider-Man #3 is also my collect. Although, you know what? No, I take it back. Duke. No, I'm going with Duke. One,
He just doesn't want to be a conformist. That's Roddykat.
No. I Ultimate's great, but let's just like I said just a second ago, it's sometimes it's the moments that make up the book, and the couple of moments near the end of Duke #4 just was what was kind of cool. So and Age of 7 had already picked Ultimate anyway, so I didn't have to. And that, folks,
Told you.
Sometimes you gotta switch it up a little bit. But yes, folks, we're going to go into the news section, but first let's get an ad read.
Alrighty, our first ad read of the night is for Blue Apron's meal delivery service. Blue Apron, fresh ingredients and incredible recipes delivered weekly to your door. Skip the grocery store and make incredible meals at home with Blue Apron, always shipped free right to your home. And now the listeners of the Comic Book Chronicles can get $30 off your first Blue Apron order. Place your first order with $30 off, and to help keep our show free for you, go to our network website at cspn.us, that's cspn.us, then click on the Keep Our Podcast Free link at the top of the page. From there, scroll down to the Blue Apron link and sign up for your first order. Blue Apron through cspn.us. Do it today. Ka-ching. And thank you. Now we get into the news.
Oh wait, I didn't have that. Hold on.
There it is.
Damn static. I'm gonna bug the freak out of me. But yes, cinematic news as I try to over. There we go. Juggling plates, folks. Cinematic news as we do about this time. X-Men 97 news, actually, we're starting off with. So X-Men, Marvel addresses Professor X recasting. Apparently, just like Pietro, they recast Professor X for some odd reason. According to comicbook.com, they talked to Brad Winderbaum, who, as you've been with us last week, got a lot of news out of. But they talked to him on their Phase Zero podcast, which I don't know why I even mentioned that, because they're not us, we're not them. But shout out to the people we know that works with them. Head of streaming of the company, he says he's addressed a change. He says that Cedric Smith was the man who voiced Charles Xavier in the X-Men, the animated series. However, Ross Marquand, who is a noted voice actor and mimic, some would say, as Professor X's voice actor, which is the case. Oh, apparently there was a joke about the Red Skull, who Marquand also voiced from Infinity War.
From Endgame, yeah.
Endgame, excuse me. Yes. Who he also voiced as the Red Skull. But basically it says basically he was the Winterbaum dude was just dapping up Marquand as a talented voice actor. So and it basically says that we were lucky to have him. I mean, we were able to get so many other OG cast back, and unfortunately, we had to cast Xavier. Ross does a great Xavier. So, sure, I guess he's serviceable. We have not seen much of Xavier that that much. Like, yeah, we got a little bit of it in this last episode, but we're not getting a whole lot of it yet. But yeah, there you go. Next up.
Alrighty, so I kind of remember this. X-Men 97 intro finally fixes an opening credit mistake. it obviously updates it with some of the characters that are featured so far in the series. But the mistake is that one thing that really differs from the original featured Thunderbird oddly running amongst the villains alongside another mysterious character with a pink head, believed by some to be Gargoyle. So this was debunked. And, it's weird that Thunderbird was running with the villains. So, let's see here. X-Men 97 fixes this mistake by replacing Thunderbird and the pink-headed character with Lady Deathstrike and Emma Frost.
But they still have Magneto versus Professor in it, just like in the original, which still kind of messes with me because we know Magneto's new state at this new status at this point. Will they go back to that point? We don't know, but at this point, like you would think they would have changed it. Anyway, so that's that. And I think that's not the only change, but that's the one we're going to go into right now.
Right, but that's the like I said, they kind of updated a couple of the characters. Like Bishop is there and Morph is there. So
right. Oh yeah, and a couple of things, but yeah. Speaking of X-Men 97, 4 million views in 5 days, folks, for the first couple of episodes of it. So I'm not surprised because I know people were hot and heavy the minute it came out and spoiling stuff and talking about certain lines that are probably going to be, in the Mount Rushmore of lines. Well, maybe not Mount Rushmore, but probably a top 10 line or two that'll probably show up here and there. But according to Disney, this marks the streamer's most watched season 1 premiere for a full-length animated series since Marvel's What If season 1. So, and it puts X-Men 97 above some other shows that are not getting nowhere near the press that X-Men 97 is. So I don't know why this article decided to put those in here. So, because they're definitely not pushing those like they're pushing X-Men 97. So it's kind of irrelevant on that. But hey, not surprising. Got a lot of views and probably will continue to, unless you're certain people. Next up. So apparently, in speaking with Men's Health to promote X-Men 97, Brad Winderbaum, who is the head, who is Marvel Studios' executive producer, and is also head of streaming, television, and animation at Marvel Studios, offered an update on the company's forthcoming animated endeavors, which included some talk about the upcoming Black Panther series, Eyes of Wakanda. And he says that it fits right into the, quote, sacred, unquote, MCU timeline continuity. Ryan Coogler is a producer on it. Todd Harris, one of the other longtime storyboard artists, directs it. It's about Wakandan history and mythology, and it's really cool. It feels like, okay, I'm getting an animated look into the MCU. Okay, let's hope it comes out, and it comes out in good shape. That's all I can say. Yeah, indeed. Which also brings me back to Wakanda Forever, that about a part that still bugs me to this moment. We won't talk about it right now. Animated Marvel Zombie series is, quote, for sure a TVMA show, says Brad Winderbaum, which again, who's been out here talking a good bit lately. This was revealed as much during an interview about X-Men 97, with a quote that says, in terms of more mature animation, yeah, we're making a Marvel Zombie show right now that is pretty intense. That's for sure a TVMA show. So, and again, it's trying to honor the comics, which, who likes Marvel Zombie? Well, somebody, let me shut up. Don't.
There's a lot of people that
I know, but ugh. Anyway, and what's so great about the comics was that it's not pulling punches. That's certainly what we're going for in that project also, end quote. So yeah, there you go. So those people get their Marvel Zombie show. Next up.
Nova apparently is still in production or in development at Marvel Studios. Again, Brad Winderbaum has confirmed Nova is in development at Marvel Studios while he's been out hyping up X-Men 97. So that's cool. I like Richard Rider.
I know. That's why I made sure you had this one. And we had talked about in some past show that it was rumored that there was going to be a Nova based project in the MCU. So I guess this is more confirming that yeah, there was a thing. Next up though. Oh yeah, I was gonna ask Agent 70 if he saw this earlier, but The Spider Within, new Spider-Verse animated short film is now available to watch. It is out there on Sony Pictures Animation YouTube channel. It's only like 7 minutes long.
I have not watched this yet. I did hear about it. I just haven't had a chance to watch it.
Yeah. If you're going expecting it to be something adjacent to the previous movie or the next movie, it is not. In fact, it kind of has more in line with what Miles has been dealing with in the comics currently, in a way. And that's all I'll say about that. You could go check it out for yourself. This was, I think there was some project that is, the Kevin Love, no relation, the Kevin Love Funds project, which was which Sony collaborated with for this. Says that the short film will be incorporated into a lesson plan from the Kevin Love Fund that, quote, invites students to tell their own story through the lens of mental health awareness by an interactive curriculum, including a creative storyboard activity. So that kind of gives you an idea of what...
Right. Kevin Love is a basketball player, and he gained some attention for bringing attention to his own mental health struggles.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where that ties in.
Right. So, and again, no relation that I know of. Next up.
All righty. One moment, folks. All right. Let's see here. So Sydney Sweeney calls Madam Web role a strategic business decision. That's like pulling up from a rough tackle, not making that rough tackle and letting the runner go by.
Mm-hmm.
I get it.
Yeah. Translation.
I get it.
Translation, I am going to work and I'm going to continue.
And she
work.
got paid.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
So, which, you know what? Can't be mad at her for it.
Yep.
Next up, though, Star Wars, the entire Skywalker saga is returning to theaters for an all-day marathon. Can you guess what day this marathon is going to happen on?
May the 3rd? May the 5th?
You're close. You're close.
I'm right around that. I think I'm right in that ballpark, right?
Yeah, this is almost there. But of course, yes, folks, May the 4th be with you is the day in question, if you didn't already know. And apparently, actually, it says the first prequel film is returning to theaters on May the 3rd with a sneak preview of Star Wars Acolyte.
Wait, so I was right?
Kind of was right, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's just a prequel. Yeah, well, wait, the first prequel film. So Phantom Menace is going to be on the 3rd, and then the whole thing is going to be on the 4th. That's 9 movies. That's a long time to be in a movie theater. I've never done one of those. I kind of want to, but at the same time, man, that's a lot.
No, I ain't got time for that.
Like, add Clone Wars into the mix. You be there for...
Oof.
Yeah. And not even that. You add, like, Rogue One and all that other stuff that was in Han Solo, but I hadn't seen that movie in a while. Just probably for a reason. Anywho's, but yeah, 25th anniversary of Star Wars: The Phantom Menace. This is why this is happening. The whole kit and caboodle. Let's see. Oh, it says also that those attending will receive a special limited edition poster. Tickets will go on sale. Actually, the tickets are on sale. So at this point, because they went on sale last Friday, which means, I don't know, you may not be able to get them now. Good luck if you do it. May the force be with you if you go into that, I guess. Next up.
Right. So this is kind of an opinion piece.
Right.
The Bad Batch might have introduced a new Star Wars a concept for a new Star Wars animated series. That being Rex and his mission to rescue the clones that are still in captivity. And, that's a spoiler for a couple of episodes ago.
For Bad Batch, right.
Right, for Bad Batch. Simply because we know where Rex kind of ends up in Return of the Jedi. but there's a lot of story to be covered. Whether or not anyone really wants to see that, I think people do.
So has
But
that
if
been?
there's an
Go ahead.
what's
Sorry.
that?
I was about to
No, I
ask
was
you.
about
Has
to
that
say,
been
I'm
confirmed?
not sure.
You're not sure.
I'm not sure there are,
Right.
enough people that really want to see that. But I'd sit down and watch it.
I feel like there is enough as far as people who are invested in the Filoniverse.
Right.
Those people, which I guess would kind of us in that. And, you know, Clone Wars are good, Rebels are great. So I mean, well, yeah, reverse that. Actually, they both were great. I'm not even going to, you know, I like both of those. Bad Batch is still pretty good. So yeah, they could do it. Whether it's necessary or not, that's neither. You know, that's either a thing. I don't know if they need to make another show out of it, because I feel like that's going to end up being a Book of Boba Fett type situation.
Right.
And we don't need that. But yeah, it could happen. It could happen. But obviously there's the, well, hey, what happens between this and Rebels type of situation? And then the next one after that, well, what happened between that and Rebels, or that and whatever and whatever. So they'll try to keep going as where the money resides, I guess. Anyway, according to this article, Disney board foe Nelson Peltz questions, quote, woke Marvel films. So yeah, this has been making the news about this old putz, who probably shouldn't even be on the board. He's according to this article, the activist investor agitating to win 2 Disney board seats, criticized the company's, quote, woke strategy, specifically questioning Marvel's Black Panther and Marvel's the Marvel's movies, which features, although he says, he basically makes it like, well, why do we have a film with all Black characters and all women characters? But neither one of those are either one of those. But also, as someone noted online, hey, Black Panther did a hell of a lot of good for Marvel, so maybe shut up. He didn't say it like that. That's me paraphrasing what they said, but they just stuck with the numbers. Like, you know, Black Panther was probably one of the best doing movies, you know. This is
Right.
in the whole
Right. Now, if
he
he's taking a shot at like Eternals or even Shang-Chi, I get it.
Right. Yes and no. But yeah. But regardless, oh, shout out to Von Gloom who popped up in the chat. Says it's much like him that is stifling creatively. Yeah, like I said, old people with old thinking, and you know. And actually, I can't even say it's just old people, because there are young people that also have no sense like that.
Yeah,
but,
exactly.
So, but we just hear about it from the older crowd more often than not. So, and this article even also goes into the numbers that Black Panther did and Captain Marvel. So, and also mentions the fact that, hey, the casting stuff wasn't what this person says it is. But like I said, until those people die out, and we're always going to have those type of people. I'm not justifying it, but I'm just saying we need to be louder for people against people like that. And hopefully he doesn't get those 2 seats. Next up,
Mike Mignola drawing monsters documentary about Hellboy creator's career finally gets some distribution channel. And let's see, it's getting new life as a result of a distribution deal with Nacelle. Oh, we know the people at Nacelle. And well, we don't know them personally, but we're familiar with their work, and we're glad that they are helping to distribute this particular documentary.
Yeah, I mean, Nacelle's been doing some moves in the last few years, so good to see. I wish we did know him. Can we get a part of one of their things? You know, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Agreed.
But yeah, so there's the other interesting part, if you're a fan of Mignola, there's that. But the film, according to this article, has a lot of folks in it, like Guillermo del Toro, Neil Gaiman, Patton Oswalt, Ron Perlman, of course, Victor Lavelle, Rebecca Sugar, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, some names that is going to show up in this thing. And if it's done in the Nacelle style, you know, if you watched, you know, Toys That Made Us and the like, if they're still going to go with that style, you kind of get a feel of what they're going to do with it. But since this is a documentary, I guess potentially a straight up documentary. Maybe they won't do that whole thing. I don't know. But apparently, the project was Kickstarter's 6th highest funded project, raising over $528,000 during the campaign. Yeah, so there you go. Next up, speaking of Three Body Problem, Benedict Wong talks bringing Marvel and Three Body Problem characters to life. I'm not going to risk to go into it, but yes, that Three Body Problem is off, and I've heard some decent things about it on Netflix. I have not watched it myself. But yeah, Wong is. I can't just say, well, yes, Wong is in Three Body Problem because that's actually his name anyway. So, apparently he teased his future in the MCU, and I guess just like the character he plays in Doctor Strange, the character also came straight out of the book, or whatever graphic novel this is. So, cool. Next up,
what was the lady's name in She-Hulk?
Tatiana Maslany, or are you talking about?
No,
Madeline?
the lady, the character that was running around with Wong.
Oh, Madeline.
Madison.
Madison, yes, Madison.
Madison. As long as Madison is there, I'm happy. That's what I need. All right, next up, Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire kicked off with 16 million in North American ticket sales across Friday and preview screenings this past week. That nearly matches the amount that was made by its predecessor. So, we'll see if it makes if it exceeds its predecessor's box office earnings.
Right. Which I guess since it's a week out from that, it probably did. I don't know.
Right.
But yeah, sure. I still haven't seen it yet. I don't know if I'm going to. Yeah, Ghostbusters. Van Gloom. Ghostbusters was released last week, actually. And actually, there was a book that is, I think,
right. It was last week because Godzilla X Kong is this week.
Yes. And there is a prequel book if you're interested. That came out this week and going into that movie. So there you go. The writers said, why confuse the audience? They know him as Wong. Let's keep him as Wong. Yeah, I guess that was the reason. We don't know. But why two OG Ghostbuster characters don't appear in Frozen Empire, as explained by the director. I believe it pretty much amounted to. It sounds like it amounted to. There was no story for them in this, but it may be something if they continue to go down this line that they would potentially show up at some point. So, next up.
Going to a shootout. Sorry, folks. Hockey's on. All right. Bad Boys 4 trailer debuts and reveals the full title. Believe it or not, it is not Bad Boys for Life.
Thank you.
But it is, in fact, Bad Boys Ride or Die.
Missed opportunity, man. Missed opportunity. But I guess maybe they didn't know, or I don't know. Somebody should have said that.
Right. So did you watch it?
What, the trailer?
Yeah.
No, not yet.
I watched it. I got a kick out of it. I mean, I didn't really pay that much attention to it, and I really did not like Bad Boys 3. So
yeah, they could have stopped.
I don't have any kind of expectations for this movie.
Yeah, that's actually what I said about 3 before I watched it, and confirmed, because it was not great.
Yep, did not like it.
Von Gloom says Hudson's a vampire. Look, man looks good for his age. Also, black don't crack. You know what it is. Aykroyd and Murray looks extra older than him. Yeah, same. See you previous statement.
Exactly.
Margot Robbie's production company is making a movie based off The Sims. Do it that what you will. I mean, hey, Barbie did surprisingly good. So I guess. Hey, look, at this point, she's doing what she wanted to do, I guess. So, riding that wave. And there's a lot of Sims fans out there, so I'm sure so it'll do some numbers, if anything. Next up.
All right, so you can celebrate Godzilla's 70th anniversary with a 24-hour movie marathon at the Music Box Theater in Chicago from June 7th through 13th. So, You can watch. I don't know if you can watch -1 in here. We can watch, I think, everything but that. Oh no, it does. Opening night will be a double feature of the last two Toho Godzilla films, Shin Godzilla and Godzilla -1. And then it's followed by a panel discussion. And June 8th is when the 24-hour Godzilla marathon takes place. It will feature 15 feature films from the character Showa era. Then June 9th, a rare screening of the underrated 98 Godzilla. Come on, don't call that with Matthew Broderick. And then after that, you'll get the original Godzilla from 54, the Return of Godzilla, and Godzilla versus Biollante, which is one of the newer ones.
Worth noting, if you're in Chicago, you can get all of that.
Exactly.
Near.
Yeah, I mentioned that at the top, but yeah, it's a Chicago thing.
Yeah. I still want to see Shin Godzilla, and I'm still waiting for -0 to come out on.
Well, Shin Godzilla's on Crunchyroll.
I know. I still hadn't watched it yet, though. Yeah, because remember I told you. So, but yeah, unless they do something like that and put -1 on there, which I kind of doubt.
I doubt that. Yeah. Not this early,
or at all. Honestly, if we're being honest, but also I think what Shin Godzilla was a Sony thing, and I can't remember if -1 was.
Not sure.
Either way, Von Gloom said my old self would probably fall asleep by hour 4 of the marathon. Hey, well, you know what? There's always that Star Wars one that we talked about earlier. And now we get into Von Gloom. Now we get into the anime corner.
Okay.
Yeah. Works.
All right, take it away.
Spirited Away returns to theaters in April for Studio Ghibli Fest 2024.
Sorry.
No, I knew you were going to be excited about.
Winning the shootout. There you go.
Oh, sure, of course. It's some sports thing. Well, we got something for sports for you in a minute.
There you go. Let's go Ranger.
Oh, God. Studio Ghibli fans who missed out on their first shot at watching Spirited Away in the theaters last year can try again between April 27th and May 1st at U.S. cinemas nationwide. I'm about to say worldwide, but nationwide is on your side. The showings are a part of Studio Ghibli Fest 2024, which will put 14 Ghibli films with English dubbed and subtitled versions with the original Japanese voice work back in theaters throughout the year. It's not clear how many theaters involved, probably not that big of a number, but just enough. That's me editorializing. But in this person's, whoever wrote this era, this article's area. Let's see, 5 theaters are showing. Well, that's their area. But regardless, so this is the largest list of movies since Ghibli Fest started in 2017, and it runs through a list of the other notable movies, which shouldn't be surprised about, that are going to show up there. So yeah, Fathom Events. If you're interested, you can go through there. Actually, the list of the showings are attached to this site. It's going to be attached to this article. Excuse me. So you can go check that out at your leisure in the show notes. Next up.
Warner Brothers Discovery is set to significantly expand its investment and production of Japanese anime through its existing local studio in Japan. So apparently they've been operational since 2011, and they've delivered over 80 titles in that span, a mix of high-quality anime live-action series and movies, including JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, which I have problems watching because it's hard to digest, and the Record of Ragnarok series, and a Batman Ninja anime movie. I've watched that. That's not that great, but okay.
I was going to say JoJo's is not for the faint of heart, but because it gets kind of bonkers. But if you can get past that first, second season, although some people love that for the second season, you can, yeah. Von Gloom, that Suicide is the Isekai, I think, should be out soon if it's not out already. I know we talked about the trailer last week, so that is out there. Will be out there soon. But yeah, I guess the Warner Brothers is going into anime when they should be shoring up the stuff the regular stuff that they got going on. Beastars anime final season split in 2 halves. I know of a fan of Beastars that told us to, and they were jumping for joy. at this. So yeah, the final anime season adapting Beastars manga will be split across 2 cores, which I don't know why we got new terminology. Just say part, folks. Yes, this is old me saying that, but I don't care. When it exclusively premieres on Netflix this year, the staff also presented a teaser visual and confirmed the main cast is returning, which I would be surprised they were not. Let's see. New teaser promotional video will or will, if not has already. This is on the 21st. Oh, no, so this is Saturday. So a new promotional teaser video will debut at Netflix's live streamed special stage event at Anime Japan 2024 convention on Saturday. I'm presuming this coming Saturday if you're watching this live at 11:20 a.m. So, but probably by the time you hear this on the audio, you will already heard the screams of joy of thousands of Beastars fans, or how many there are. Next up.
Oh, where's Korath when I need him? Who? Anyway, Grisaya Phantom Trigger anime premieres in 2024. So this is an adaptation of the Grisaya Phantom Trigger game, and the company also unveiled a visual. And the anime will feature a returning cast from the 2019 original video anime, that is OVA. And okay. Yeah, so no, I'm looking for a date.
Yeah.
It just says this year.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not too sure about this one, but I know there are some people who probably do, so
okay.
Von Gloom says, don't know the right drug combination in order to watch and enjoy JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Less than you would need to finish watching One Piece, but a good bit. Or none if you're, insane. I don't know. JoJo, I love JoJo's. JoJo's just bonkers. You just gotta go into it and let it wash over you. Blue Exorcist TV anime continues with new season in October 2024. I have not watched all of JoJo's, by the way. So, let's see. So yeah, there was a stage event at Anime Japan 2024 last weekend, apparently. This article is from the 24th, so I guess that last article is old news. So, but yeah, Blue Exorcist I know people have liked, and there's a visual for it, and there's going to be more coming on, which I did not know where that show was, because I think I started watching that show and it was like, okay, I'll come back to it, but have not. Next up.
Oh, what are we up to? Case Closed Anime releases new key visual, the $1 Million Pentagram movie English sub trailer. So TMS Entertainment released a new key visual for the ongoing Case Closed Detective Conan anime series, alongside official English subtitle trailers for the latest feature film entry titled Case Closed, the $1 Million Pentagram. The film is currently slated to premiere in Japan on April 12th, with an American release to follow at some point.
Yeah. Wit Studios and Clamp's 6-part anime of Grimm's Fairy Tales premieres on April 17th. So, and it's going to be on Netflix, of course. So, yeah, there's going to be an anime based off of Grimm's Fairy Tales. Because I guess you got to check that box off. Clamp is the notable thing here, because, the old heads know Clamp and love Clamp. So, next up.
Alrighty, Crunchyroll is set to stream Kaiju number 8 anime alongside the Japanese broadcast starting April 13th. English and more dubs premiere the same day on Crunchyroll. So I flipped Crunchyroll on yesterday, I believe, and I saw Kaiju number 8 was already basically being advertised as upcoming. So that's good news, and I'm looking forward to that. I heard good news. I heard good things about the manga.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. Plus Kaiju. Spy Family Code White movies tickets are on sale, folks. So get them.
No kidding.
Yeah. So April 17th is when the movie comes out, but the tickets are out. I'm still debating about that one because 1, I hadn't caught up, and 2, I would probably still love to see it at the theater, but I don't know. But like I said, the tickets for screenings are on sale. You can see the list of dates for not only the US but in other territories for the said showing. Have at it, folks. Next up.
Okay, wait. Okay, wait.
Mm-hmm.
Anime fans will head to the lanes of Nagano in 2025 with the cute girls of the original bowling anime. Turkey. Are they rolling frozen turkeys down the lanes? The upcoming production released the first teaser trailer for the series, confirming a scheduled 2025 broadcast. Seriously.
So for folks that don't know, I'm sure Agent 70 does. A turkey is 3 strikes in a row.
Oh, I had no idea. I
okay.
totally forgot that. Gotcha. As soon as you mentioned it, I was like, oh, yeah.
But yes, so Agent 70, do you remember that beach volleyball anime that we talked about that one time?
I think so. I have not watched it, though.
This feels like that, but bowling.
Understood.
From what I saw. I watched the teaser for this, and I'm like, yeah, this kind of seems like that. And yes, I will definitely check it out because it seems silly. And it's a bowling anime because they haven't gone through all of the sports yet. So I guess they're just making their way through everything. We're going over into the manga corner as I just kind of do. Sure. All right, a minute. That was a little bit long, but hey, whatever. Gohan has officially become Dragon Ball Super's strongest hero, as if we did not know this already.
Yeah, I was about to say, this has just been like 8 years in development.
Yeah, so this is, I guess, spoilers for Chapter 103 of Dragon Ball Super. But also not that big of a surprise if you've been around Dragon Ball that long. He's always had the potential. I guess they're just confirming it.
Right. Because, he's going to exceed his father at some point. That's really the way I read it. And that's the way it had been teased forever and ever. And then when they got to the point where Gohan's like, where everyone's chiding him for not following up with his training, especially in the movie, if it is the movies.
Yes,
for not following up with his training. So that's when I figured, that's where they're going with the story.
Right. To which, though, here's the thing about Dragon Ball Super, I did not realize, from something I read that we might actually be getting into no, we won't. But I did not know Super was in between the last arc of Dragon Ball Z, like right before that. And I did not know that. So the Super takes place between, I guess, that last tournament or before that last tournament and the Cell Saga, I guess, or something like that.
I forget. There's something a little wonky about that. We'll both have to look that up just to be sure.
Right. It was another arc I was watching. It might be looking at, or maybe even this one that kind of mentioned it. I was like, oh, really? That's weird, but okay, sure. Because it was an article that saying it's like, yeah, this should be. I think it's in the So yeah, Von Gloom says before Goku trains Oob. So yeah, so that's right before the end of
right before the end, exactly. It's not the last arc, but it's like right before the end.
So it's after the tournament, but before the
Oob stuff.
Which is like an episode or two.
Exactly.
Okay, gotcha. All right, so that still is weird, but that makes sense. I mean, that makes a little bit more sense. Okay, cool. Right, and the teens are teens. Anyway, so yeah, there's that. Next up.
One moment. Didn't realize it was my turn. Dragon Ball announces an official theme park. So it's official. It's getting a theme park. The big project was announced in tandem with the team at Shueisha. As it turns out, the world's first Dragon Ball theme park is being built in Saudi Arabia with help from a Saudi investment company. Okay.
Yeah. Saudi's big in other places, as we have found out recently.
Yeah,
more places than you expected.
that oil money unfortunately does talk.
Yeah. One Piece creator addresses new hiatus in fan letter. He basically is taking a break from the manga in the wake of Akira Toriyama's death. And I think he said something about he wanted to just take a couple of weeks, kind of, get his stuff straight. It says, and this article says, and no, the break isn't on the table due to health concerns. Oda has reassured fans that his health is fine in the wake of Toriyama's passing. But this hiatus was planned, and that Ichiro, excuse me, I know I butchered that first name. Oda had planned to use the time to think over Luffy's adventures so far, according to this article. I'm like, yeah, they all do need it. We always talk about mangakas need, like, they get worked to death, damn near. But so it's good that he's taking time for himself to kind of decompress and think about Luffy. Which, if you think about Luffy, maybe think about ending. It's already going on long enough. We don't need it anymore. I know One Piece fans are going to come at me for that, but I don't care. Next up.
Yeah, seriously, shot fired, folks. Shots fired. Black Clover announces a double chapter release. Black Clover will release not one, but 2 chapters in April 2024. Okay, the story's been quiet since last winter. Creator Yuki Tabata last released an update in December 2023. So you're going to get 2 in April 2024.
Yeah. I know people like Black Clover, so that's good. Mobile Suit Gundam Silver Phantom VR anime reveals trailer video, which... Is this in the wrong place, or is this where I thought it should be? Either way. So Bandai Namco and virtual reality production company Atlas V released an exclusive trailer, new art and the staff for Mobile Suit Gundam Silver Phantom feature length VR anime. Yeah, okay. Oh, that's right. So this is in the right place. For the MetaQuest on Thursday. The trailer reveals that the story is set in Universal Century 0096, which I guess is the 1 Year War, I can't remember, or after the 1 Year War. It's basically original Gundam timeline. So that whole thing is all crazy. So, I have access to a MetaQuest, but I don't know if I see myself getting this. Next up.
All right, one of the biggest directors on the Tekken game franchise makes an announcement with regards to Bleach, apparently. And see here. I'm just looking at this point of the story. So Tekken's Katsuhiro Harada took to social media to confirm that Bleach remains his all-time favorite manga. Okay.
Yeah, I'll help you out. Basically, that's leading people to speculate whether they're going to put Ichiro or someone from, or it's anyone else from Bleach.
Oh, it's Tekken. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
thank you.
Yeah. Which I know there's been people speculating about that lately, even before this Harada came out with this. But it'd be a weird fit, but also that feels like more of a Soul Calibur thing. But we probably won't get another Soul Calibur for quite a while. My Hero Academia cover art focuses on Iron Man All Might. This is for volume 40 of My Hero. And
right. You can talk about this because I am mostly up to date on My Hero manga. I might be like a volume a chapter or 2 behind. I'm going to double check right now, actually. Go ahead.
Gotcha. I mean, there's not much it says. Basically, there's a final fight against Awful One, and All Might debuted a full suit of armor that's kind of Iron Man-like, according to this article. So, cool. Next up, whenever you get that, we're going over to the comic book news.
All righty. So we are shifting.
Let me do this
to comic book news.
Here we go.
That's I'm going to assume that's Mark Hamill as the Joker.
Sure. How about this?
Hey. I'm not sure where that static's coming from. All right.
Yeah.
DC's new evil trinity reveal their true power, surpassing the Justice League. Okay. Amanda Waller, Brainiac, and Zur-En-R's Trinity of Evil just got a whole lot more dangerous with the addition of a new powerful player. So they unite with Trigon. Okay, Raven's father, to eliminate the Titans and alter DC Universe power dynamics. Okay.
Because you knew that had to happen at some point. Also, that sounds like the beginning of a joke. Amanda Waller, Brainiac, and Zur-En-R went to a bar.
Right.
Have you been keeping up with Titans? I know you were on it for a minute.
On and off. I'm definitely a few months issues behind. I'm not surprised by this, but it's wild that Waller's getting into like seeing Amanda Waller standing across from Trigon the Terrible.
Right. Well, because again, setting up that event that's coming up with
right
her,
to bring the JLA back.
Wait, the JLA is back?
No, not yet.
Yeah. Oh wait, no, I'm thinking Justice Society. I'm sorry. That book is a thing, not JLA.
Or the Justice League, not the Justice League of America, but yeah.
Right. Joker: The World, announced by DC, which is a 184-page hardcover anthology that is set to be published later this year. The arrival of Joker: The World comes after the success of Batman: The World, which I don't remember that. A similar anthology that was launched in 2021. Joker: The World will be released at booksellers and comic book shops on September 17th. According to this article, it will showcase an array of stories from international creators. Excuse me, it has already been confirmed that Joker: The World will feature stories from Jeff Johns, Satoshi Miyagawa, David Rubin, Herman Peralta, and Jason Fabok, and other folks. So, cool, I guess. Next up.
Celebrate Scotty Young's big impact on Marvel Comics with new variant covers and more. So this June, Scotty Young's the iconic Marvel artwork will be showcased on 27 new variant covers, one epic poster, and the release of Giant Size Little Marvels #1. Okay.
Yeah. I think I have a couple of posters of his when I got from Con. Cool stuff. Marvel announces Daredevil's 60th anniversary issue, which was going to be the upcoming Daredevil 8. Wait, what? What issue is on?
7.
Okay, so next issue.
Yep.
Let's see. The issue which stands on April 17th will feature a main story continuing Ahmed and Saladin Ahmed and Aaron Cooter's ongoing saga that pits the born again father Matt Murdock against demonic 7 deadly sins. It's an oversized issue, and it's going to have new stories featuring with featured stories from Ann Nocenti, Erica Schultz, and a bunch of other people, because there's a lot of names going on in this thing. But yeah, a lot of people are going to be in this thing. So I'm sure we will talk about it next issue. I mean, next episode that, on the 17th. Next up.
Alrighty, next up. Marvel bringing Venom from Marvel's Spider-Man 2 game into comic canon. So, written by our very own Timothy Adams, the story is on comicbook.com. And so this character is going to make its debut in Venomverse Reborn. Okay. So the first issue of Venomverse Reborn will feature the Venom from Insomniac Games' Marvel's Spider-Man 2. And the first issue of the anthology series lands in June. Okay.
I know I'm in the minority for this, but I would like Venom and Deadpool just to go away for a long time. A long time. That's all. Speaking of been away for a long time, but not really. The High Evolutionary returns in new Marvel comic book. You'll never guess what comic he's going to show up in. We just saw him fairly recently in an X-Men book, by the way, so it wasn't like he's been gone all that long. But Spider-Boy.
Of course.
And it says there's a backup story in Spider-Boy #5, which I think is already out. A highly evolved opinion reveals why Madame Monstrosity hates Subject 5, and I guess she has some tie to High Evolutionary, which I guess shouldn't be surprised if you know anything about that character or either one of their characters in relation to Spider-Boy. Next up.
Right. So apparently Marvel unmasks Gwen Stacy as the new Green Goblin ahead of a blockbuster story in Amazing Spider-Man, courtesy of Zeb Wells. So, we're going to get Gwen in the new Ultimate Spider-Man next issue. But we're getting something going on with Gwen in regular old Zeb Wells' Amazing Spider-Man run, and it's going to happen very soon. Like right after issue.
Oh.
50.
Oh,
you there?
Yeah, you froze for a sec.
Oh, sorry. I didn't do anything.
Oh, yeah, I'm not sure. It might have.
Did you hear what I said about Gwen being the new Goblin?
You were into it before you froze, so you might want to say it again.
Basically, just saying that in the lead up to Amazing 50 and in the aftermath of Amazing 50, apparently a version of Gwen Stacy is going to be running around as the new Green Goblin. So thanks, Zeb Wells. That's basically what I was saying.
Right. And yeah, we didn't talk about this last week when this is one of the reveals in Web of Spider-Man #1, that thing we talked about last week or so.
Right.
So yeah. They can take Wolverine with them. Damn. I mean, I probably would agree, but nah, he's got his place, I guess, but he has been saturated. Toy Corner, though. Marvel Legends series Shield 3-pack official images and info. Agent 70, what do we think? Or what do you think?
Wait, say again?
So we got official images for that Shield 3-pack from Marvel Legends 3-pack.
Yeah, I'm still not enthusiastic about the Sharon Carter figure, but I'm good with the other two. Like OG Nick Fury and, New School Nick Fury and Dum Dum. I'm really mostly happy about getting a Dum Dum because they did put out a Nick Fury figure like on this new body relatively recently, but it would be nice if we actually got a Gabe Jones head so we could have some older Shield agents.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll deal with Sam Jackson, Nick Fury too.
Well, you do get it. It says that you do get a Nick Fury senior head, so at least you got that.
Right. And there is a Shield agent body that you can use that was out within within this Hasbro run that you could swap heads with, and so you could have both of them running around at the same time.
Right. The short-haired Sharon Carter just looks like Yelena
Belova.
Yeah. So, and I can't unsee that, but there is a longer-haired Sharon Carter figure if you so choose to use that, but no Destroyer yet. I hated this when I saw this earlier, and I still hate it now. Marvel Rivals has been announced, which is basically Overwatch, but with Marvel characters. So if you play Overwatch and you wanted to play a Marvel version of that, I don't know who you are and why, but it's out there. But then again, there's people who love Overwatch, so I'm sure they'll try it and be like, this is an Overwatch, but it's like Overwatch-like, and then go back to Overwatch. But yes, it's 6v6 team-based, free-to-play shooter, done by NetEase. That's going to be on the PC, and it's got a whole bunch of people that you would know and some that you don't know, including some variants of folks, like Galactus's daughter. Yeah. Next up.
All right, the Transformers soar into the spotlight with new collectibles. So Hasbro is releasing 2 exclusive Transformers figure multi-packs featuring deadly Decepticons to commemorate the franchise's 40th anniversary. Where is my soundboard? What I need to say, I'm getting too old for this shit. So this multi-packs, let's see here. So this is the Transformers Legacy United line. And let's see. So Hasbro brings Doom and Destruction to the Transformers Legacy line. Which group is this? The 3-pack is the Mayhem Attack Squad set, which includes 4.5-inch Decepticons Chop Shop and Barrage. And these are based on the Generation 1 Deluxe Insecticons. Okay. And hammering away at enemy Autobots is Malleus Minotaurus, who's also part of the set and transforms from a robot to a mallet. What the? Seriously?
Yeah, this is a first for me. That seems like something that was in the Japanese line. I don't
Good
know.
Lord. Right, there's another set. There's a 2-pack with the main robots being the 4.5-inch truck Decepticon Breakdown from the universe of Transformers Prime and the 6.5-inch jet Decepticon Windsweeper. Okay. Again, who?
Yeah, but you are seeing those figures as he as Agent 70 talking. So yeah, half of these.
That's wild.
So
I have no idea who those characters are.
Guess what? I'm a Transformers fan, and I don't know either. So, I mean, well,
I'm mostly a Gen 1 fan, so that's why I'm a little. I'm definitely out of it when it comes to anything post that.
Sure, I think I did a little reading on a couple of them, and I think those last two came from like one of the books that they got, or specifically like the British version of the books that just happened to come over in a later series or something. I don't know. Either way, Lego rolls a net 20 with Dungeons & Dragons Red Dragon Tail set. So this is a collaboration between Lego and Dungeons & Dragons, and there is a whopping 3,745 pieces, because this can't be a Lego set without telling the numbers. The set features Cinderhowl and the Red Dragon, and filled with tons of Easter eggs from the Forgotten Realms. And there are, if you're watching the video version, pictures of said sets. Lego fans, next up.
Okay.
Oh, we're getting to something that I know Agent 7 have some words about.
You know, I heard about this. Official Star Wars Blue Milk is coming thanks to True Moo. So I actually heard about this, I believe, on Fat Man Beyond. So you can actually buy this now. They can get fans can get their first taste of Blue Milk at Star Wars Galaxy's Edge at Disneyland before Disneyland and Disney World. But now you'll be able to chuck it wherever you want thanks to True Moo. True Moo Blue Milk is 1% low-fat milk and features natural vanilla flavor and blue color for a truly galactic, delicious experience your family will enjoy. Okay, let's see here.
Missed opportunity. Should have been blueberry.
True Moo Star Wars Blue Milk will begin hitting stores on April 17th, 2024. So we still have a little bit to go, but I'm kind of looking forward to seeing it on the shelf and people being like, why is that milk blue?
Right. And the disappointment that will probably follow when they realize it's just regular milk with food coloring.
Right.
That's the disappointing part about this. All right, so let's get into this. Matter of fact, I'm going to do these two because they are related.
Nap time.
No, not quite, but
man.
But check this out. This is about something we were talking about last week that you had some thoughts about. Disney Star Wars season brings a whole galaxy of new snacks, including a Jabba the Hutt popcorn bucket.
Oh my goodness.
So beginning April 5th, tons of tasty galactic goodies will arrive at Star Tours at the Disneyland Resort. And I guess this is, what is it they're calling it? The season of the Force. Yes, kicks off Star Wars season at Disneyland Resort. There you go. So yes, along with the Jabba the Hutt bucket, there's a Stormtrooper head bucket. Which if you're watching the video version, you can also see that. And the rest of it is about snacks that are kind of making me, well, there's another picture of the Jabba the Hutt bucket, which I guess the head lifts up. And everything else is pretty much dishes that they're going to serve, including Dubek chili noodles, spiced fettuccine noodles, and gingered ground pork with the broccolini stems and shredded red cabbage. They had me up until they said pork. and a host of other things that if you're watching the video version, you can see that I won't talk about. But the next story goes back to the original thing that brought this up is Star Wars: The Phantom Menace 25th anniversary popcorn bucket and soda cup. So yes, but this one's is a straightforward bucket with the with the image of from the episode 1 poster of if you're watching the video version. If you're not watching the video version, it's got it's Amidala, Darth Maul, Qui-Gon, and young Obi-Wan brandishing lightsabers. The last 2 brandishing lightsabers, the other 2 are just hovering above. But yeah. So, like I said, in time for the 25th anniversary screening that we talked about earlier, there is that. As long as the Jabba bucket doesn't look like the Dune booty hole worm, yeah,
God.
I think they have restraint with them. And I've seen rumblings that those Ghostbusters ones are kind of selling, well, with the Ghostbusters crowd apparently. So. Still debating it, but yeah, it's out there. All right, so next up.
Did you know that Beyblade has announced plans to celebrate its 25th anniversary? It's been around for 25 years?
Apparently. Beyblade. Never watched the
Right,
show.
so, they're celebrating the 25th anniversary with a new set of items coming out later this year, as well as a new animated series. Okay.
Yeah, just like Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm sure there was actually that's a lie. I have seen 1 or 2 episodes of that show. I'm like, what's sure? Okay, but yeah, Beyblade.
Listen, I know, like I had like young kids in my extended family that played that played with Beyblade. So
of course, everybody knew somebody.
Yeah.
Remember Pox? Anyway, well, some potentially sad news. I don't think I've seen too much more outside of this, but
this is some tough news. When I ran across this, I was very disappointed to hear this.
Yeah, multiple women accused cartoonist Ed Piskor of Cartoon Kayfabe podcast fame, I guess, of grooming and misconduct. So, yeah, the cartoonist behind such acclaimed work as Hip Hop Family Tree and X-Men Grand Design has been accused on social media by multiple women of grooming and other forms of miscontent. One of the folks, they're not being named of the person accusing him, but for safety's sake. But the accusations began this past weekend. When a young female presenting cartoonist, again, whose name's not being published, shared screenshots of DMs with Piskor via Instagram stories. Screenshots showed dated DM conversations with Piskor that took place in 2020 when the cartoonist was just 17 and Piskor was 38. Oh, gee. Based on this,
the magic of the internet, folks. The magic of the internet.
Based on the screenshots, Piskor was aware of her then age and being called the cartoonist a naughty girl, and it goes off from there about some other stuff that was said and that was in there, which we won't go into, but it's a lot of matter of fact, they took screenshots of it, which you can see in the article, and it's a lot. So yeah, that's crazy. Oh, well, I guess this is of note. The young woman also says that, quote, this is not a cancellation of Ed Piskor, that other cartoons have been aware of Piskor's behavior for a long time, and that she posted the screenshots in order to attempt to warn other young cartoonists about his behavior and apparent pattern of attempted grooming. Probably worth checking it out, folks.
Yeah, it's it's all like anything you hear about this it's just terrible. It's terrible. It's obviously nothing. It's like I said. Unfortunately, when I say fully tongue in cheek, the magic of the internet, there is that dark side.
Yeah,
of the internet.
You hate shit like this happens.
Yeah,
you would think people would know better at this point, but
Yep.
so I was about to say I had actually watched a little bit of cartoonist kayfabe.
I've watched
right?
it before too. It's like I liked it. With Jim Rugg, I think it is
Right.
the other guy.
Yeah, because it came up on my YouTube feed, and it was then something I can't remember what the subject was. I was like, okay, I might have to check this out, and I checked out a little bit of it because I had never seen it.
No, I mean when they do like straight comic stuff, it's actually really good. So
yeah, I think it was one of those.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, it's unfortunate is the wrong word. It's just terrible. It's bad stuff.
Right. And apparently, according to this article, which I had heard rumblings of, but I did not know if that was true or not, Pisco had also been criticized for using racial slurs, including the N-word in the past.
Right, because because of his history with hip hop, and
Right.
some people just don't realize they're not supposed to say it.
Right.
That's the problem.
Right. All right. So, as a attempted palate cleanse to this, and the last story, because I didn't want to let that be the last story.
Mm-hmm. Oh, is this me?
Yeah.
Batman celebrates his 85th anniversary in New York City. Welcome to New York City. Warner Brothers Discovery is celebrating Batman's 85th anniversary and first appearance in comics with pop-up comic book giveaways in New York City. According to DC, the Batman 85th anniversary pop-up and giveaway of the Caped Crusader's first comic book appearance in 1939's Detective Comics number 27 is part of a global celebration, which will lead to September's Batman Day. So let's see here. The pop-up is Saturday, March 30th. Oh, I'm probably not going to catch this. Saturday, March 30th from 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time at Soho News International at 186 Prince Street, New York, New York. So that is going to be a giveaway of Detective Comics number 27, featuring a modern retelling of the case of the Chemical Syndicate. Okay.
Pop-up video.
So yeah, it's going to be Brad Meltzer penning the retelling with art by Brian Hitch. Okay.
Yeah, and I think that because I saw Brian Hitch out there earlier yesterday talking about some art, and I thought it had something to do with this, but I'm not sure. So
sure.
Cool. And that, folks, is the end of the news for tonight. Can we get one last ad read?
Our last ad read of the night, after we've been on for a while, it's help us keep our podcast free by shopping at Amazon. Visit cspn.us, then click the Keep Our Podcast Free link at the top of the page. From there, scroll down and click on the Amazon link to shop. Purchase items from Amazon as you normally would, whether it's books, music, electronics, jewelry, apparel, or Marvel Legends. For every purchase made on Amazon through our link, Amazon sends the CSPN a payment. Ka-ching! It helps us keep the Comic Book Chronicles podcast. Yes, it is. There it is. It helps us keep the Comic Book Chronicles podcast free for our listeners at no extra cost to you. Amazon.com through CSPN.us. Do it today.
All right, folks. I need to shorten that up because there was too much space in that. Anyway, that's an outside thing.
All right, for one of those few times that I'm away from my soundboard.
Yeah, well, I use some of this stuff for other things too, but yes, definitely that. All right, folks, that's the end of the show. Oh geez. Crap. Oh well, we'll work that out. Just remember something I should have done earlier, but that's fine. It's gonna work out. All right, folks, that's the end of the show. We will be back next week with another show. Well, this is, if you happen to catch this show before this Sunday, happy Easter.
Yeah.
If you're celebrate things, get your Cadbury cream eggs out there and look out for anyone rising from the graves.
You got to get up pretty early for that.
Yeah, in a spectacular fashion, in a somewhat. But yeah. I have been Roddykat. You can find me at Roddykat on Twitter. You can find me at News on Twitter. You can find me at CBCaps on Instagram. Agent_7 on Twitter, Instagram, and Threads. Need to preload that. PECN_dirt on Twitter, Pop Culture Network on Twitter, Pop Culture Net on Twitter, PopCultureNetwork.com is on the broader sites there. And And last but never, ever least, Tim, DOGG98 on Twitter, CB Cron on Twitter, which is the Comic Book Chronicles Twitter account, The Kliq Nation on Twitter, that's TheKliqNation, thekliqnation.com. But of course, as we said earlier, he's over at comicbook.com, where he's over there writing his face off. You can find this here podcast on the Coast of the Podcast Network, that's CSPN.us.
Do it today.
You can also find us on your podcast perusal place of choice, whether it be Google Play, Apple iTunes, aka Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or the Coast of the Podcast Network SoundCloud page.
Make sure to click like, subscribe, and leave us all the positive 5-star reviews, especially on Apple Podcasts.
And you can also find us recording every Thursday night, 9:30 each, mostly every Thursday, 9:30 Eastern Standard Time on the Kliq Nation's YouTube account. That's youtube.com/thekliqnation and twitch.tv/Comic Book Chronicles.
Make sure to click like, subscribe, and leave us. Actually, make sure to hit the subscribe button to make sure that you know when we are on live. You will get that notification.
Kind of wanted to wait for that. Latter days to you, Von Gloom, and happy Easter to you. Let's see how we're gonna pull this one out. Actually, I don't think we are. Okay, here's what we do. This has been the Comic Book Chronicles. Peace.
One.
Spread love, it's the Brooklyn way. Spread love, it's the Brooklyn way. Spread love, it's the Brooklyn way. Spread love, it's the Brooklyn way.